Well, we got 5 of us. So that probably is a quorum. Let's see, 1, 2.
I believe there are 9 members.
Okay.
Is Megan an official member, or is she
Yep.
just working on the
She is.
budgeting committee?
She's it.
My list says 8 if we don't count Karen.
Right. And I'm not a member. So
Right. Do you still represent the select board?
I'm wearing both hats.
You're doing both, okay.
Yeah, and Megan is definitely a member.
But
Right.
was the term up in May?
Yeah, but we're not doing,
Okay.
we haven't done elections, so I think we need to,
Okay.
I'll look into that, but for today, let's count it as
An actual member.
a member and we have a quorum.
Mhm.
So James, I think we're good to go.
Okay.
We want to run the meeting.
Well, again, we have one agenda item, which is at least until we add any other questions and comments that anyone wants to make. But that agenda item is how we work effectively with our new Community and Economic Development Coordinator to create a plan for the support of our business community during the COVID-19 and beyond.
Yep.
So how we work together. And one question that came up about the agenda from Bill said, does this include attracting new people to our community? Which has been one of our purposes in the past. And the response I got from Karen was, go ahead, Karen.
Well, hang on, here's Corinne coming in, so we'll just include her. And
Hello, Corinne, are you in?
hang on. There she is. Corinne,
Hi, Karen. Yep. How you doing?
good. How are you?
I'm well. How are you all?
Good. Are you on your phone?
No, I'm home. I have very poor internet today, so I'll
Okay.
probably keep my video off because it helps with my connection.
Okay. We just launched, so it's James and Bill and Jean and Megan and Jerry on the phone and you and I.
Was this meeting noticed, Karen?
Yeah, I believe it was. Yeah,
So the public couldn't get in if they wanted.
it's not, yeah, we have not done that with EDA. I believe the only committee currently that's doing a Facebook Live is Select Board, and we have not done that otherwise.
You make it available by.
Yeah, I think we have to figure out, sharing what we will do is post the recording and notes.
Nice.
Okay.
But I guess the question that Bill raised about attracting people to come into our community,
Yeah, I want to talk
Karen, you
about
had a
that.
response.
I would like to just talk about that more broadly, James, in the context of the times we're living in. So, my taking this position and our focus right now, we all anticipated that the bridge closure was going to be a challenge for the town and for our business community. We all anticipated that. We did not anticipate COVID-19 and the pre-challenge, if you will. I keep referring to it as the 1-2 punch, So this first punch we didn't anticipate. And so here we are months in with businesses closed and suspended and modified. So, and the reality that New Hampshire as a whole has done pretty well just in terms of mitigating the spread of the disease. However, our neighbors to the south have probably 30 times what we've got going on right now. And so anything that we're thinking about doing as an EDA, as people interested in building our strength as a business community, we need to be thinking about in the context of that, because to this point, the EDA's focus has been on marketing excuse me, to attract folks from outside of our community into our community, to tell the great story of Peterborough, to attract new business, to attract young people, young families. And that's all been really important. But we are kind of needing to hit the pause button on that for a little bit, because we have a health risk if we continue to go full, keep our foot on the gas around that and try to drive folks from, say, Boston and New York and other places where we've been into our state. So I think while I'm not saying we should, and this is obviously a group discussion, but my point of view is I don't think this is a forever change, but I think it's a right now change, and maybe it's a pivot to think about how we do marketing, how we market our town and strengthen our business community differently now, given what we're in the middle of. And I'm certainly interested to hear what you all have to say about that.
Okay, well, again, I think we just can start with anybody who would like to speak about that, and particularly those of you who are interviewing businesses and are well connected to the businesses. Bill, Megan, your responses on what we need to be doing to actually support our businesses in this rather difficult shutdown.
Do you want to take the lead on that one, Megan? I say that I fully understand where Karen is coming from. And we do, as a group, an EDA, we do need to refocus our vision, I believe. And that has impact on a number of different areas. The one I'm most concerned with is how do we redirect the drum group with their social media messaging to fit that overall vision. Is it, Karen, let me ask you this. I mean, I know that this is the first day on the job, but you're a selectman, so you know better as to the direction that the town administration is moving in. Are they taking a stance of basically closing the town to outside visitors?
I think we're following the governor's guidance, and everything that we've been told is that, if you look at the governor's, the order on Friday about golf clubs, for example, it's members only and New Hampshire residents only,
Mm-hmm.
right? The parks, it's New Hampshire residents only.
Mm-hmm.
So there is this guidance about limiting out-of-state folks in at this point. We're not going to be militant about it for sure, but I think we want to be mindful that, we get a lot of tourist traffic. And if we continue to promote Peterborough's open for business, right, we will get the groups of folks coming in from out of town that maybe isn't the best thing for right now.
Well, I can understand discouraging recreational traffic, but there are going to be people out there in the greater community who are going to be looking for alternative lifestyles. They don't want to go to an office building every day and are beginning to adopt this work at home opportunity. So, I would hate to not have them evaluate Peterborough as a desirable location. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if we halt that kind of vision, and it's a long process. I mean, someone doesn't just on one day decide that they're going to move to an entirely new community and start a business or continue their business in a different location. That's a long process. And certainly, so I personally, yes, I want to discourage influx of visitors who are just here for recreation. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I hesitate because I want to be able to make us a community, as a business related community, a viable option to those who are interested in that.
Well, I agree with you, Bill, that I would, again, what I've said is, I don't think this is a forever decision. I think
Oh, yeah, yeah.
it's a temporary pivot perhaps. But I think we may be speaking about kind of two different things. I think if someone's interested in potentially moving a business here or working as an entrepreneur here, I think that what speaks perhaps most strongly to that person is how well our town has sustained itself and thrived through a difficult period. So I would hope that folks who are thinking about Peterborough would evaluate us on, how thoughtful we are, how much we respect our business community, that we would, really focus in to make sure that they were taken care of. And I think that the direction right now that we're going in, given that we have been given, we have this loosening of the stay at home a little bit, and you can do some outdoor seating, and some of the businesses are opening. I think even the way that the town is approaching that right now is extremely thoughtful. And we want to work with our business community. So I think what I would say is we're in uncharted waters, and we don't want to put additional pressure on, on the systems and we don't know how this is going to go. So all I'm saying is I don't want to suspend everything, no marketing, right? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, what if we shift the marketing such that primarily it is for the folks who live in our town and the people who live right around us here in New Hampshire, to attract them back into our downtown and attract them back into interacting with our restaurants and shops. I think that we have an opportunity to show our community that we're doing this in a way that respects their safety, that cares for them, and that also acknowledges how much we love our businesses and we want them to survive. So I think we can help tailor a message that Drum can help us deliver, right? But it would be the audience would be the people who are at home right now, who are afraid to come out. And what are we doing about making it safe to come back?
Well,
So Karen, I have a question. Oh, sorry, Bill.
No, go ahead, Corinne.
Are you, in terms of tangible actions, are you really just talking about Drum's work with social media, or is there some other initiative that's going that needs to be directed in a different way?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think right now the contract is social media, right? But one of the things I've been thinking about is a campaign that would be, and I know that there's been a group that has been meeting around the bridge closure, right, before all this, and about how we would keep downtown vibrant through that time. I think more than ever, we need to put our creative brains together around creating a long-term campaign that that attracts folks back downtown, that talks about our pulling together, that talks about that are being strong together, and whatever that is. I don't have the words for it yet, but I know there's an opportunity for some kind of campaign. Like in Keene right now, there's a website called Keene Strong, right? And that website has all of the different businesses highlighted and kind of, talking about who's open when and what's going on in town with their business community. We don't have something like that. But I think if we could create it, then we could look at the role of social media. We could look at the role that Drum is playing and figure out if how they could support that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that's exactly, just a local movement, sort of Peterborough pride. Because the key is just information, right? It's people knowing what's open, what's safe, what protocols businesses are following, and having it available, of course, everyone has their own website, but I mean, just the other day, I'm not on Facebook. I don't do social media. I just don't like it. So I was trying to say, geez, what's open for takeout? And I mean, I'm a librarian. I sort of had to look around for a while. So it would be great. I know there's this awesome Peterborough Cares Facebook page, but not everybody's on Facebook.
Right.
But Megan, you were going to say something, so I will yield to you. Oh, you're muted though.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I muted myself just so I didn't make noise. I love what everybody is saying. I am in Depot Square. I was there Tuesday through Sunday working. There's not exactly a shortage of people. People are finding their way there. It's different. There's a lot of walking of dogs and kind of just enjoying the fresh air. I would love an insight from 12 Pine because they do seem to be the busiest as far as traffic goes, and that is a small little space that they're letting people congregate in. I saw many non-wearing masks individuals on Sunday. That for myself gives me anxiety. I don't let anyone in my shop right now, and I probably will not let anyone in my shop until June. I love what you're saying. There are my Massachusetts-based clients from my mobile business call me pretty much on the weekly asking to come up, and I tell them no. I just don't know how long that's sustainable. And there are other retailers in Depot Square that also have clients in Massachusetts that are, once they're able to be open, those people are going to come.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to try to mitigate it best we can, but I can absolutely count the Massachusetts license plates for you next weekend, but there's going to be a few.
No, I get it. Yeah,
I
I don't think we're going to be able to police it, and I don't think we want to. What I will say is that this is a nice segue just to even talk about what we need to do this week. Part of the order on Friday talks about the retailers can be open with 50% occupancy, right? But there have to be masks, there have to be sanitizers, all of that, right? That wasn't part of the order before. It was just like, that wasn't spoken to, and now it is. And so now there's an ability to do a bit of enforcement around that, if you will. The thing with the restaurants too is that just because you can have outdoor seating now, when you think about the rules for outdoor seating, right? It's got to be 6 feet from another table, but your server has to be able to be 6 feet from the table and the next table. So that's 12 feet, mm-hmm. Right? So think about how many real opportunities for outdoor seating some restaurants have. It may not be that lots of people can do this unless there's some alternative out there. I don't think that, so this is all to say that I don't think just because the restaurants can, that most will. I think some will, and I think a lot of them will continue with their takeout because they are doing really well with takeout. But I think what the guidance now does is it says to the restaurants, there are more rules now if you're going to be open, and about how you're going to do takeout and how you're going to do outdoor seating that weren't there before. So yeah, I think we're not closing our border. So, people will come and we'll deal with that. But I think the enforcement around having to be masked and the rest, we have better guidance that we can now do something with. G?
So I have
Karen? Karen, it's Jerry. I have an enforcement question, if that's appropriate.
Yes, Jerry.
Who is responsible for enforcing? If a restaurant opens and packs the place, does Scott Gennard show up? What happens?
It's the health officer, which would be our Chief Walker, because they would be violating we're in a health emergency. So that's
okay, got it. Got it. The other comment, which is not in that vein, is let's not forget that that influx in the summer is not just to see the merchants and such. There's a huge volume of people coming in with summer homes and so forth,
Yeah, we know.
and people who rely upon the rental of those homes. So I don't think we're going to see it no matter what.
And I think, Jerry, we're going to be following the guidance. The governor's got a task force working on these, all of these different sectors. And so as the rules come down from the state, we'll be following those. So
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I'm just
Yeah.
commenting that there's quite an influx.
Yeah.
And monitoring it and or following the guidance is going to be difficult, and we need to be prepared. That's all.
Yeah, got it.
Dean, you were trying to come in.
Yeah, so we've been talking about travel and tourism, and we've been talking about workforce and business attraction. I think that what I hear Megan saying is that given that our capacity is going to be very constrained, we may not want to spend a lot of marketing effort attracting customers because we may have more demand than we actually need. So when I look at, and the other thing about what we've got, what we're spending on social media is we have two pots of money. One of the pots is going to service Eddie and Rory, and the other is advertising dollars.
Well, we've discontinued the advertising dollars also.
Pardon me, Bill, I can't hear
We
you.
discontinued advertising altogether. They have not posted an advert since March, early March.
Okay, but that has been what we have been spending.
Right.
Okay, so it's a decision to be made if we continue or don't continue that. So the service dollars, of course, relate to content. The advertising dollars relate to audience. It is typical during a recession, if a company or an organization continues to advertise through the recession, they come out with an extremely strong brand at the end because they have very little competition. And while we don't want to attract more people because we think we may already have enough, though we need more input. We've got Megan, we got nobody else. We need to ask the businesses whether they think they need help attracting additional customers. But if customers aren't the issue, we could focus on our workforce and business attraction aspect, keeping up our branding throughout, doing what you said, Karen. I think we got a very, and Bill mentioned it too, we got a very strong brand in that we are a safe place, we are a beautiful place, we are a place that's much less risky and has the amenities needed to work at home and so forth. So one of the things we might consider doing is reinstating the ad dollars, maybe not as much as we've been spending, but some, and continuing that New York and Boston attraction, continuing that branding as this is a great place to move, and don't you wish you were here instead of where you are? So that's one possibility.
Okay. That's interesting.
Well, just on the other version of our advertising, who's in touch with Drum now?
Megan.
Megan?
Yeah.
And
Bill.
how many more months are they employed to continue to work on the videos?
The contract was renewed in this month, so they have 2 more months, 3 more months.
So they got what, May, June, July?
April, May, June.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we took them through the summer, the select board.
Well, so one of the questions is, what should we be hooking them up to in terms of current efforts? I mean, should it be something much more focused on this current shutdown?
Well, there's a fundamental question I wanted to ask, and that is, what other platforms do we have in town to inform our businesses as to the various
Yeah.
things that are going on at the state level and the requirements and so on and so forth.
Yeah, great question, Bill. Actually, there's the town is about, I think we're within a month of maybe shorter term than that, having a new website
Oh, great.
ready. And I've asked this morning about a page on the new website for our business community for economic development. So it would be a very focused, it would be like my department page, which would be, this broader, all the stuff we're talking about. And so I'm going to be following that up. Today was just day one. So
What are you waiting for? Come on.
I know. So that's one place we definitely need to do it.
Do you want us to participate in that, or
Let me get into it a little bit.
figure it out? Okay.
Yeah, let me get.
But we're talking about content, I think, at this point, as to what is it that we want our social media to focus on at this point.
Oh, go ahead, Bill. Go ahead.
No, that's okay.
I just have a quick idea. So the latest thing that I found to be really exciting for our region was the Conval drive-through that they're doing in support of all the students for Memorial Day weekend, where they want you to either, like, I'm going to decorate my store window for the graduates. You're supposed to decorate your house and do some lawn stuff.
Yeah.
So if that was something we wanted to showcase, I think we could do that on the social media. It's just a matter of if you want to target it or not, or if we just want to say, look at what our town did for our graduates after the fact, or we could do a promotional and get more people involved too. That's just one idea to shift views. If we wanted to shift, that would be an opportunity to do so.
I think the idea of creating a bigger theme under which we then do these kinds of things, Megan, I love that idea. And I think what that really speaks to is a strong community, right? So is it and a one community and a connected community? And so can we create a campaign that is the umbrella for the work that gets done over the next several months and beyond that? But I think, like, instead of us just kind of peppering ideas, why don't we come up with some kind of theme or campaign and then create that plan? Because I think that would be more cohesive, and we could put a lot more thought into that and get Eddie and Rory in this conversation with us.
I like that idea, and I like the idea of having a theme. And then I would suggest that, how many postings do they do a week?
3, I think.
Yeah. 2 or 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would suggest then, if you're going to you have maybe 2 postings a week directed at the community, and then using the same theme, you have 1 posting that's directed to outsiders viewing the community. And it's that 1 posting that you spend your advertising dollars on back to Boston and New York.
I'm sorry, who organizes those postings?
Eddie and Roy. Well, Megan and Bill.
Megan and I advise Rory and Eddie Drum as to.
Okay, those are the names from Drum. Okay, that's
Right.
lost that.
Yeah, so I think the next meeting we need is with Eddie and Rory, and a broader conversation about creating a campaign that is, to really be creative about how do we keep everybody feeling good about our community. And Gina, I like your idea of, 2 to 1, that it's like, that weighted that way, that it's 2 postings that are really about our internal market, and then 1 that maybe is a more workforce kind of, for example,
an outsider's view of the same topics.
So
you might use pieces from what you had done for the internal, but you're presenting it from an outsider's view.
Well, what I'm thinking about is, So Clean has been really instrumental in doing PPE, right? We heard today that New England
Products.
is doing gowns, right? We've got companies in our community that have responded. I think those are great folks.
Back as well.
Those are the ones. So if you want to attract business, this is the kind of business community we have, right? So I think if we put the focus on our businesses, right? So there can be community focus, because I think that's also just important. But if we create a list of who are the companies that really stepped up in our community over the last, several months, and did posts about them and about their COVID story, like how did they respond to make Peterborough one strong community? Like if that's what whatever that campaign is, right? It's tell the story one by one of what did they do to respond? Because that's like, this is the business community we have, right? In this little place. Let's tell that.
We've got two major dimensions to that story. One is somebody as extremely well established as So Clean. And then there's another version, which is brand new companies who are just coming in to sort of explore tying into here. One that we're working on at Makerspace is called Tennis Steel. Anybody here ever heard of Tennis Steel?
No.
They make a product which is actually helping to make guns safe and secure in your homes and in your cars. And they are another equivalent of like a So Clean, but again, selling equipment to people who own guns who need to make them safer. They were being developed over in, they were being developed in Keene. They were being developed in Keene. Now they've taken an office at the Makerspace here in Peterborough to tie into our community here to actually become an organization just like So Clean, selling products virtually all over the country.
Are they a manufacturer, James?
They're a manufacturer.
And how do you spell the company?
TANOS.
Thank you.
Great. So we can, I think what we ought to do is
TNOS TEEL, Tanos Steel.
Tanos Steel. I think we should maybe do some more brainstorming about all of the businesses we know that have stepped up, and then we can schedule some time with a broader marketing discussion.
Is Drum working out of the Max Makerspace?
No, they're working.
They're probably working from home now, right?
Yeah, they're working.
Their office used to be there, right?
Yes.
By the
Because
way,
now Tennis Steel is working there too at Max Space. So
yeah.
Okay.
By the way, we have a meeting scheduled with them at 10 a.m. on Thursday.
Okay.
Send out a general.
where's that?
Online.
Virtually, Zoom.
Virtually?
James, where is everything?
Where's
Online.
My room.
You have a Zoom meeting, huh?
Yeah, in the Zoom room.
Okay.
Well, again, those are dimensions that I really want to get into. Is what are we doing to support our new enterprises here in town and our existing businesses? Now, on that subject, Karen introduced me to the head of Harlow's, who was working on what is he going to do to actually make his store come back into operation with his 44 employees.
He's struggling, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and again, I spoke to him, and he was then connected up with PPP to seek some financing and was working on his financial needs. Have you heard anything back from him, Karen?
I have. Yeah, I have actually. So the
where does that fit into this subject?
yeah, so where it fits in is so this is a good segue, because what I would like to ask the EDA members to help me with is some outreach to our business community. And what we will do, what I'd like to do is prioritizing the restaurants first, because that's the most, that's happening within the next 2 weeks, and it's the most logistically complicated.
Excuse me, Karen, that's not till the 18th.
That's 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So what I've done is I've created a list. Bill drafted a list of questions before we knew the restaurant piece that he provided to me. I ran those questions by Chief Walker this morning and Nicole and Rodney, and we added to them a little bit. And what we would like to do is, I'm working on, Bill, I've taken the list because I have, I've taken back control of the list of the contacts because I'm prioritizing our restaurants and getting contact information there. And what I would like to do is do a little bit of divide and conquer here with splitting the list and getting the questionnaire to us and having us make some calls to the business owners to have conversations to ask these key questions, because there's a lot that we don't know about how they're doing. I happened to talk to Dave Sezzi at Harlow's because he reached out to me, but I haven't spoken with a lot of others, and I really think we need to talk to them to find out how they are. And so if you guys are willing, I would love to be able to finish the contact list and share parts of the list with you all, and then give you the questions, and then a mechanism for feeding the answers back in. Are you all willing to participate in that?
Absolutely. I've
Yes.
got
Yes.
a couple of contacts already with restaurant owners. And so I'll share those with you, and then I'll follow up with.
Okay, great.
A Google form could work really nicely.
Okay, great. We can do that. Yep.
Yeah.
Jerry,
I think that's a great idea. And please do that. Please do that.
I saw Jerry light up. I just want to make sure. We don't
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Put me on the
Red?
list.
Okay, so everybody's in?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So my next step will be to put it into a Google form so you can put the answers in and get that to you, and I'll get you the list part that you do and the questions. Let's gather intel. That's what we need, right? To find out how people are doing, what they need, what their plans are. Yeah, Megan.
Really quick, I'm good for operations. I'm having trouble finding hand sanitizer. I knew that Sweetwater was making it, that distiller in Winchester, but I haven't heard anything since. Like, I saw it originally in March. Does anyone know or have a contact there?
I have a hand sanitizer that I'd be glad to give you.
Well, that's very nice, but we do need to prepare for the long haul. So I would like to have a link with somebody that can.
Well, my
constantly
children sent me some that you got more than I need.
I might have you save that for somebody that can't afford to buy it, but I want to make sure I get a distributor that I can pay for their product and get a relationship built up with. So.
Karen, on the list of questions, is there a question that asks, do you feel that if you open, you will have plenty of customers?
Hang on, let me show you the list and let's look at it together, because we can certainly edit it. Give me a minute here.
I'm just trying to figure out if people think they have a demand issue.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, you all see that?
Yep.
Can you see it? Jerry, you can't, but we'll read the
Yeah.
questions. All right.
Go
So the questions are in the categories are having to do with your business financial impacts, then business loans and grants, then employee impacts, and then reopening and restarting. So it's those 4 areas. And I'm sorry that this is a new computer they just gave me. I'm just having to make my way. Okay, so what we're asking from the business side is if their business is closed or has been severely curtailed through the course of this, and this is as of this week, right? Where are they? And if so, Bill, you said by approximately what % of business revenue? So like, what are you seeing if they have kind of a year to year, right?
Right.
To just kind of get an idea of how much business they've lost or
I
not.
suspect the answers will be quite severe.
Okay.
Yes.
And then the next part asks them questions about whether they've sought like PPP loans or other government funding, and if they have concerns about that, any of those programs. And then, of course, were they aware if they qualified, or do they have questions about whether they qualify? Because
No, on the second, on the middle bullet,
yep.
it might be more clear to say,
Forgiveness.
are you approved or have you received the money? I guess it would be, are you
Yeah.
approved? Have you received the money?
I'm in the middle of
Have you received any
Can I
funding?
type that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe what concerns do you have about the federal loan program?
Or do
Maybe
you have,
slash
do you have
forgiveness?
any concerns?
Yeah, what concern? I mean, I think a lot of the question is based on the forgiveness of the loan,
right. That's why.
which your bank is refusing to answer that question. Only the SBA knows the answer to that question. So, and maybe the federal government, but the
Yeah.
banks will answer that question for you.
Okay, so we'll ask them what their concerns are. Okay. And then we ask them about employee impacts and the percentage or number of employees that have been laid off or furloughed. Or maybe none, you know, they could tell us. And then has an employer provided resources to their employees regarding unemployment or those kinds of things? Just to get a read on that.
Could you add something about the emotional well-being or the emotional, if anyone else, I mean, this happens to me that my employees are emotionally a little bit worried. Yeah, just coping.
Coping is
Yeah.
good. Oh, well, yeah, it might be coping financially too. You could just say
Both of those,
coping. You'll get more
emotionally and
information.
financially.
Yeah, and do you need any resource here, or yeah, we can get you in touch with some resources, maybe
Yeah.
mental health wise.
Well,
Yeah, so the idea here is we'll get the information and then we'll be able to follow up and provide what we know we can give them. Okay.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
The first bullet in reopening,
Yes.
it should say, instead of new guidelines, it should say emergency order number 40. Or no, it could say stay at home 2.0, which is emergency order number 40.
Yeah, stay at home
stay at home
2.0 is
2.0.
what they've been referring to it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Jerry, this question says, are you aware of the stay at home 2.0 order released on Friday, May 1st? Second question says, do you plan to reopen using this guidance? You know, and it lists on May 11th for retail and salons or May 18th for restaurants.
Should we ask in between that, do you understand the order as it regards your business?
Okay.
In other words, I'm trying to assess how much confusion or non-confusion there might be.
Okay.
Well, on that subject, when I listened to the governor's talk, I really didn't know what he was saying about businesses other than restaurants and so what is the story with small businesses that might be operating out of your home? I mean, what do
Well,
we do?
there's James, there's a website where there are links to these guiding documents for each business sector that's affected.
Mhm.
And so I will share that with this group also in case you haven't seen it so that
I
you
haven't.
can refer to it. Right? So you
Good.
might want to review it like for restaurants in particular, because that's who we'll be talking with first.
Right.
So it might make sense for you to review it and make sure you're comfortable with what's there.
Are these links on the town website, Karen?
They are, I believe, if they're not, they should be on the COVID-19 page of the town website.
Okay,
And I can follow that up.
I'll
I
check.
think it's there though.
They're on the governor's emergency order.
And they
page.
are there as well. All right, so just to continue, the next question asks, do you know how to access the supplies needed to comply with the new guidance?
Right.
right? So that was to Megan's point, like, how do I find hand sanitizer? Do you know who to contact to review plans for compliant additional outside seating? This is for restaurants. Because there's some work that people need to do with the town if they're going to do that. So they'll need to contact the town if they're planning to open. So, and maybe maybe before that question, we need to ask this one, which is, if you plan to reopen, what will your operation look like through the end of the month? So we could ask that first, and then, do you know who to contact to review plans for additional outside seating?
So rather than asking them, do you know, can we say, did you know you need to
You
contact?
need to contact the town.
X? We can,
Yes.
we can actually tell them the answer because this isn't a quiz.
Yeah, did you?
Will be graded.
Okay. All right.
The
Now,
contact.
is this just for restaurants, Karen? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In order, they need to
Yes.
contact town if it's a restaurant that is going to open?
It is for the town restaurants. It's for the restaurants because there's something called minor site plan review process
Okay,
that's being put together so that very quickly an emergency kind of minor site plan review can be done if folks want to add, say, seating out in their parking area, you know, so something new can be added to their site plan.
Along those lines, what about tables for retail outside of their space?
I think that if it's a, like, when you're normally open and you want to do an outdoor, like, sidewalk sale kind of thing, I don't think you need something separate like a site plan review. You just can do that, I think.
Okay.
But I can check into that.
That would be great.
Okay.
but that would involve handling merchandise in an uncontrolled environment, right?
Well, what I would say is that this discussion is going to be largely held tomorrow night on the select board meeting. At the select board meeting, we're going to be going into this. So I would say those kind of questions, if you can hop on the Facebook Live and ask them real time with Chief Walker, because he's the source.
Yeah, is the clothing, if you try on clothing and don't buy it, it has to go into storage for lockdown for 48 hours.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to do that. Okay, so just to continue with the restaurants, if you're not planning to reopen before the end of May, why have you made that decision? You know, and then what can the town do to help? So we want to know, you know, because Jimmy Tan told Chief Walker when he looked at the outdoor seating for Kogetsu, he basically, with all the requirements, he was only going to be able to put five tables out there, and it wouldn't be worth it for him to do it. Just wasn't to bring staff back, and this wasn't. He's doing much more business by just doing takeout.
What do you think it would mean for somebody like Harlow's? Because they've got only, you know, what, 3 or 4 tables outside?
Yeah, they need a modified plan, James. So there's a lot of discussion in it. Well, we're working on this, so there's going to be more talked about tomorrow night. So,
So is
and
this,
actually, there's a
is
group.
this the
There's a
end?
call at 3 o'clock. So I just want to say I have 9 minutes, and then I have to hop on a call with the group that's working on the plan for the restaurants. So,
Can I just add,
I
is
have
this
a
the end
question.
of the questions?
Jean and Corinne.
We've gone through all the questions, right?
Yes, we have.
Okay, can you please add a question somewhere under the reopening? If you reopen, would your, or no, it doesn't even care whether you reopen or not. Do you think your business, if your business upon reopening,
What's the point, Gene? You
would
think-
be limited by safety constraints or by lack of customers?
All right, I'll move that one up a little bit.
Well, before you have to leave, I've just got another type of question.
Wait a minute, Corinne had a question first. James, wait a minute.
Okay.
Thank you. I was wondering, to my knowledge, there is no directory of businesses online at this point for Peterborough, correct? I mean, the chamber had done one, but that was just members only. There's no sort of just directory of businesses.
The website that I made had a directory. I don't know if it's still up, but I don't think anyone took it down. It's probably just doesn't have links.
That was the one on the website, but what she's asking is what businesses are open in what capacity now, right, Corinne?
I guess my question is, and I don't know how to ask this or if it's time to ask this of the businesses, but would that be something that would be helpful? Is that something that should be created? And if it is, you know, I'm sure that there are organizations such as the library or others that would be willing to do that work. But first, we need to know if it would be useful.
So let me tell you what is in the works right now. FOSH has created a mapping app that is keying off of currently the list that Chief Walker put together about those businesses who are open now and what the terms of their openness is, if you will. And that's I'm gonna be meeting with FOSH this week about that and how quickly that'll be launched, but it's ready. And I think that's a good first step in terms of being able to provide a link somewhere where you can find the businesses in town. And so we can expand it. I mean, right now it's just working off the list that we created about COVID-19, but it's one of those things that can be broadened. So my intention is that not only do we have that, but that there is some other place online, whether it's through the new page that I'd like to create, that is a directory. But I would be happy to work with you on that, Corinne, because I think you know, you've brought us some other really great tools, and I think that we could figure this out. But we definitely do need it.
Another question might be: have you notified your customers or clients of your current plans for reopening, or I don't know, that would be interesting too. I've been looking at a couple, just as a customer, I've been going to my salon, like, dear God, when are they opening? And there's just nothing, no information about what I've gone on their social media. They just haven't updated anyone. And I'm sure they have reasons for that, but that might be an interesting question to see if.
Okay, I'll add it.
That's it.
Well, there's another question that could be put in here somewhere, which is, do you need financial help beyond what you're able to find so far through the federal or state programs? And I'm now thinking about our town capital here in town, who are perhaps capable of giving loans to businesses that need short-term support.
Well, just notice that the state is going to have the BFA and all kinds of people are going to be given loans through federal programs. The CDFA, there are going to be quite a few. Giving loans is a pretty complex thing to do.
Okay. Well, I added a question there about more financial needs, so that's
okay.
Fine. All right, so I've got my work cut out for me here. I have just a couple minutes, so.
Do we want to set the next meeting?
Yeah. So I'll see if somebody would share the meeting details for the marketing committee with me and anybody else who wants to be part of the broader conversation with Eddie and Rory. That would be great. And then this general meeting.
So next meeting?
Well, I would recommend that maybe we meet
Our calls.
in 2 weeks. Not a month, but sooner, because we're all going to be working
That's
on
an agency.
things here. So can we meet in 2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay.
When?
Same time?
Works for me.
Okay, so May 18th at 2.
Jean?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bill?
Yep, we're on.
2 o'clock the 18th. Okay.
At 2 o'clock. Okay, very good. Okay, everyone.
Thanks, Karen.
I'll set that
Thank
up
you.
and Zoom out. Thank you
Thank
all.
you very much.
Good to hear
Take
from
care.
you.
Take care all. Stay
Take
safe.
care. Thank
Stay
you,
well.
Karen.
Okay,
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.